And all right, hey guys, this is Millennial, and today we're gonna have a very special edition because normally, usually I just do book reviews by myself. And I don't have someone come on the stage and kind of share some of your ideas, some of your thoughts, and what you really think is going on in our society. So today, I have a very special book. Very special to me, and the reason it's very special to me because it has to do with finances, okay? And finance is what I do personally, right?
Yes.
And the reason I do what I do is because I've seen that a lot of people in America struggle when it comes to their finances, okay? Especially when you get to their senior years, right? Because I work with a company where I've experienced and discussed with some of these seniors, and I really felt firsthand what they go through. Okay, so the title of the book today is going to be Broke Millennial by an amazing author called Erin Lowry. And to discuss this book, I have on the stage today Tyshanique Hamilton, okay, CEO and founder of the Great University. Do you know why you're my guest today?
No, I don't know. Please
Because
don't. I feel special though. My introduction was like...
Okay, that was a powerful introduction. The reason I have you today is because I've heard you several times discussing with your team and talking about the need for them to have some money or some savings or something like that on the side to kind of show that they've reached a certain stage or to kind of validate what they are doing, right? So that's the reason why I thought I'm going to go into the details of this book, later on by myself and kind of cover each of the topics that she covered in the book. But today I kind of want to get your input. I just wanted to share some of your thought and what you think is going on currently with society, especially millennials. Okay, and I believe millennials. I think those born from 90.
Don't get me going.
I think there was 90. Is it in the 80s? I think
it's in the 80s up until now. So it's between, I think, 20-something to like, what, 30-something, 40-something, something like that. I'm just hyped that I'm still a millennial. High five for that.
Okay, perfect. So, I just wanted to share some of your thoughts, okay? Because a lot of people these days, I think that has to do with our education. Right, because most of us right now, we are no longer going after what our gift is, right? We don't try to dig into our gift and kind of produce what we actually came on this earth for. Most of us actually choose a career because of the economic value or what we're going to get by the time we graduate, okay? So, Tyshanique, I want to give you a few moments just to kind of share with the viewers, those who are viewing, what you do, and as a result of what you do, how does your audience get actually empowered with what you do? I just want the people to know how to contact you if they want to do that later. I just wanted to take a few moments just to share with them what is the result of what you do on the business side.
Okay, so thank you, first and foremost. And again, thank you for having me. So yes, I am Tyshanique Hamilton, CEO and founder of The Great U. And under that umbrella, there are many entities. The Great University is our new baby where we have a university which is comprised of professionals and entrepreneurs who need that push, right? Or so to speak. They need that, because, and it's interesting we're talking about finances because that's where the Great University came from. Obviously, we stand on biblical principles, but we also understand that in being an entrepreneur, the first door that closes on your face or in your face is usually or typically surrounded by finances or the lack thereof. Yes? And so what we do is we have a university of individuals who are all in their separate different lanes, and we connect them with other resources who can help carry their vision, their mission to the next level with a fraction of the cost that they would need to use by outsourcing. And that's pretty much what we do. We obviously empower and engage, enlighten, uplift, but the primary goal is to stand on the principles of God, which, a lot of people are quick to scream we're Christians, quick to scream we are believers of Christ, believers in God, but we're still broke.
Right.
And the reason we're broke is because we're not applying biblical principles in a worldly atmosphere, right? And because if the word says that we are the lenders and not the borrowers, why are we always going to get a loan? If the Bible says that we are, the head and not the tail, why are we back there? We are supposed to be above and not beneath, but yet we seem to be so low. The reason is because we are not applying the principles, and that we are not also applying common sense, right? And so there's individuals like yourself who are experts in financing. And so what we do is we bypass you and think that we can do it on our own, and then we fall flat on our face, and then we want to go back to God and say, well, this didn't work. And so that's where we connect the dots and we connect the pieces. So that's what the Great University does. Obviously, I'm a speaker. I'm also an author. And as far as your audience contacting me on different platforms, social media platforms, you can find me on Instagram at @the_Great_University. You can find me on Facebook at The Great University. You can find me on Google at The Great University or Tyshanique Hamilton. You can find my book on Amazon. Like, there's so many ways, or they could just contact you. But my reason in being here is not to talk about me. I want to dive into this book, and I'm so excited that we are talking about financing, because it's a conversation that most millennials try to run away from. They think they can get away from it, and absolutely you are correct, because it's going to catch up to them or catch up to us in our senior years, and that's what we want to avoid.
Excellent. So I hope you guys were able to get some of the information that she shared about what she do personally and business-wise, and how the people that she works with on a daily basis get impacted, and what are some of the results that they get as a result of going through what the Great University does for people. Now, I want this video to be really for people watching this video to be able to take some really good takeaways, and I want us to kind of go through different areas and see how they can actually learn from that. Now, one of the first takeaway, right, and the author actually mentioned here, has to do with the mindset. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit. The first takeaway is take control of your finances by examining your feelings toward money. Okay, savings and making a budget. So the first thing I want to touch on is the mindset first. Okay, and I know that has to do a lot with what you guys do at the Great University. So talk to us a little bit about the relationship that most people today have with money, the way they look at money, the way they actually think money is, and the way they actually may create some conflict between them having money and money being able to solve some of these problems that we have in the society. So dig deep into the mindset. What are some of the feelings that people have with money that actually prevent them from?
How long do we have? No.
We have about another 20.
No, I will try my best. Because when you start to think about the mindset, you have to. I always try to think about recipes, right? Because I enjoy cooking. So, you ever think about a recipe that was passed down from our parents and grandparents and so forth, and landed in our hands? You have to understand that our mindset as a people, as it pertains to wealth, finances, materialistic things, that comes from the lack that we had back in slavery when we were brought here. Absolutely. Right? And so when you understand that and truly understand that idea and where that birth came from, when that first recipe came from, it continues to come down. It's a trickle down. We may take out a dash of salt and add this and that, but primarily the recipe is still the same, right? And so when you think about our people and you think about where we are, when it comes to finances, we have I gotta get it now, a spending mentality. We have a mentality, as soon as I get it, it's out my hand. My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to always say, the money is burning your pocket. As soon as we would get money, like if she gave us our allowance, she would say, that money burning your pocket, because we wanted to go to the stores, we wanted to go. But even at that time, and my grandmother was phenomenal, but had she had the the wherewithal and the knowledge to sit me down at a youth and as a child and say, the reason you're so anxious to spend that money is because you're used to not having it. Right. And so because as a people, we're used to not having, so the minute we get it, we want to spend it and splurge it on things that will reflect or that we believe will exemplify that we're doing good. Right? So we don't understand the importance of investment.
Sure.
We don't we don't understand. I'm sorry.
We're going to touch on that a little bit later.
So I won't even go there.
That's a good point.
We don't focus or we don't discipline ourselves enough around finances. Because again, it's the lack of knowledge. We don't understand wealth. We understand money, but we don't understand wealth. And there's a great distinction between money and wealth, right? And so what we do is we spend, and then we deal with the aftermath. We deal with the collection calls when they come. We block them. We deal with the who's ever calling, what's behind. We make arrangements rather than allow our money to tell us where it goes, right? We allow, rather than we tell our money where it goes. So there should be assignments to our money, right? So let's just say you work a 9 to 5 and you get paid on Friday. What we should do is say, okay, this is where this money goes. This is your assignment, because we have control over that. Right. What we do in turn, millennials, as of late, or what I see, is that we allow our money to tell us where it's going. The minute we see something, oh, you know what, which was outside of our plans. We got paid on Friday, we're ordering this, we're doing that. And before, okay, you get paid, I think checks clear in the bank accounts between 6 and 7. I'm not, you're the financial guru. I don't know all that. But by the time you check your bank account 6, 7, 8 in the morning, you've spent the majority of your pay. You're already broke by 10 a.m. because you've already allowed your money to say, this is where I'm going, this work, based off of the things that we see, not off of the things that we know we need to do, because that comes from the lack of discipline and the lack of knowledge. See, we weren't taught as a youth. Someone has to come up. It takes only one person to start this new tradition and this new recipe. Right. Let's scratch the old recipe because it's not working. Let's create a new dish and start implementing. Listen, this is what we need to do. This is why finance is important, and the intelligence of finance is important. This is why you need a financial advisor. This is why you need savings. This is why you need life insurance. All of which we negate and we don't discuss.
Excellent. That's a very good point. You actually cover a whole bunch of things. But now I want to touch on something that we've heard over and over and over again. Okay. I recently made a post on my Instagram, and I remember, I think on that post I actually wrote, money is actually attracted to value. The more value you deliver, the more money tends to come to you. Okay? Now,
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Money is attracted to value. The more value you deliver, the more money seems to be attracted to you. So money follows.
I just want to make sure I got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, on that same post, I actually wrote something, because the question was, what is money? So right now I'm going to touch on the biblical principle. Okay. Most people say, I'm not sure whether it actually came from the Bible, right? But most people say money is the root of all evil. So what's your take on that? What do you say? Because that's what most people are still thinking.
The love of money is the root of evil. The love of money. See, you have to remember that the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added, right? And so when you think of things, see, God is like, you want a business? That's a thing to me. Oh, you want a car? That's a thing. It's not major. But if you seek me first, I will add these things that you've been coming to me so, diligently about. I will pour out blessings upon you. Right? So when you take that and then you go to the root of all evil, that means that your focus is not seeking first yet the kingdom of God, but it's yet seeking internal intentions of what you can do with money. right? With that paper, what can you do? And so because when you love something, right? So I may love my spouse, right? And when you love your spouse, you will do anything to please your spouse. You will go outside of your way. You depending on how in love you are with that spouse, you may break some laws. You may overstep barriers. You may do a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't do, or maybe others deem are not okay. Whatever. When you love something, you tend to navigate towards that thing and right. to accommodate that thing or to obtain that thing differently, because it's a love. There's a great desire within here.
Right.
And so what happens when you have a love for money is that, again, just like if it was my spouse, I'm going to go above and beyond and make sure that he is happy and that, I accommodate his needs. For a person who has a love for money, they'll rob a bank because that's their love.
Right.
They'll kill people for, and which we see. Right. Day in and day out on media outlets and the news and things of that nature, because it's the love of money. It's the love of that, as they say, the mean green. So I do think that the love of money can be caused by evil because it stimulates from a place that is the reason behind it is evil. That darkness that comes out. Everyone has a good and a bad. Everybody has a light and a dark in them.
Right.
And so that dark space, that dark place comes out for that love. I have children. Because I love my children, you may see me rise up in a dark place for them.
Okay.
And that's what I believe, that the love of money is the root of it.
So that statement is wrong. Okay? So that means whoever is still thinking that money is the root of all evil, that's a wrong statement.
I don't agree that it's the root of all. It's the love of money is the root of evil.
It is the root of
because you're loving that thing. You're loving what it can do for you. You're loving the idea of how your life can be with it. But see, you have to understand. See, again, let's go back to being in love with a spouse or my kids or whatever. You will do anything to keep that thing, right? Mm-hmm. Fight tooth and nail, do whatever, because you gotta have it. That's where the darkness comes, because you can't accept an idea of that not being in your life. Mm-hmm. So that's where that darkness, evolves from. Because I can't lose this. By any means, I must attract this. By any means, I must have this. That's that evil space. That's the darkness. Mm-hmm. That's where we allow, when your back is against the wall and, bills are piled high and student loans and all this, you can go to that space or that place and say, I gotta get this. I gotta figure this out. And then that's when the dark place comes. Because if we do not have discipline over our mind, again, because we're going back to what you said originally, we're talking about mindfulness over money. If we don't have discipline over our mind and we allow our minds to just wander, that's where you could find someone going to go rob a bank or rob or hurt an older lady or a person or do whatever for their love of money.
Okay, that's excellent. Very good point. Now, I also want to touch on something that I recently heard, and that has to do with money. I mean, money is powerful, okay? Money is so powerful, even God himself was not worried about the devil. Because God said, you cannot serve two masters. Mm-hmm. You cannot go after God or go after money. Okay? That means originally, God did not see the devil as being a threat to us. But he saw money as being something that may deviate us from following him.
As a distraction. Mm-hmm.
So you cannot serve two masters. most of the time you're either going after God or going after money.
Again, seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that's why the Bible is so dope, because everything makes sense. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. You have to seek him first, and those things will be added. Mm-hmm. It's when, again, we deviate, we get distracted, because you have to understand that the enemy uses only distractions to deter us from worship, to deter us from worshiping Christ, to deter us from having faith, because you have to remember that God moves by our faith. So when distractions come, bills come, money, this conversation it's really difficult to limit it to just a few moments.
Yes.
But when you think about when most people's obstacles are surrounded by money, right?
Absolutely.
Why do you, this is your show, so I'm not even going to ask you questions, but why do you think that?
Well, I do have an answer for that, but go ahead.
The reason, please answer, because if you understand, okay, you know what? I'm just, if we could tap into that and understand that is one of the greatest tactics and tricks of the enemy to distract us, then we will understand why we are in a position we're in. Then we would also be able to tie in to what you said in regards to money being a root of evil, which is really the love of money.
Okay.
Because of the position that a lot of people are in. We are bound by so much struggle and strife.
Okay.
So now it creates such a strong desire for money that now it's no longer just a desire, it's a love. I need it.
Right. Excellent point. Now, we're going to do this brief summary to actually let everybody know whoever is watching this video, either laugh or whatever, to actually come and watch the short, what I'm going to do later on. I'm going to cover the specific of it. So I'm just going to go through this 3 point very quick, where the author actually thought these are the key elements you have to get from this book, okay? So number 1, how do you take control of your finances? Those are the 3 main takeaways. How do you take control of your finances? Why you should make a budget? And number 3, what savings and investing can do for you. Okay? So number 1, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. How do you take control of your money?
I tell my money where to go. Okay. I dictate what I'm doing with my money. Now, to be transparent, I've had a lot of money. A lot of money.
That's one thing I love when it comes to money. Most people will always tell you, I've had.
Had a lot of money.
It's really difficult to see someone that's going to use the present tense.
Yes.
I have a lot of money.
Yes. Right.
But most of the time, it's the past tense.
It's the past.
I wasn't trying to cut you off. But just
No. So I've had a lot of money, right? And in losing a great portion of that money, it forced me to have a different appreciation for money, right? So now, when it comes to money, I'm not so caught up on the money. I'm more so focused on investing.
Okay.
Because I had a spender's mindset. Because I didn't realize that one day it may stop, or maybe I would get ill, or maybe something would happen. Because again, the discipline and the teachings weren't there at my foundation. So I learned about money as I got it, right? And as I was able to get new things. And because money at that point, I believed and I allowed money to validate who I was. So every year I purchased 2 brand new cars. Every year, for years, I would buy, because I needed to show off. So I needed a brand new SUV and I needed a regular sports car. So in the winter, I could drive my car through the snow. In the summer, I'm riding out, sunroof open, and I'm every year a brand new car. I never had a car more than 1 year. All the bags you can think of, Gucci, Fendi, I had it all. And then when I lost those things, I lost a lot of me. Right? Because the money, again, validated who I was. So if money is what's validating me, when I lose it, who am I? What am I? Life is over at that point for what I thought. It wasn't until I began to dig myself outside of that dark hole and start to increase my own knowledge on money. And so now when I think of controlling my money and how I discipline myself around money is, listen, this is what I have to do. I set standards, I set boundaries, I set goals and priorities. Excellent. So as a mother, absolutely. It's easy for us as a parent to not want our children to grow up lacking like many of us may have. So we may tend to give. Oh, mom, can I have? Mom and daddy, can I have? And we're just like, sure. Because again, it goes back to that recipe. I don't want them to grow up like me. I don't want them to. But then that's where you have to get to a point where you say no, because investing is so important. I need to make sure that my company is well vested. I need to make sure that if something happens to me in the day or tomorrow, that they will receive the residual funds that will continue to go through the great university and the great U and through Amazon as my books continue to grow and to sell. So that's more important to me. I have control over my money. There's so many things I want to do. But if it doesn't make sense for the longevity, then I don't do it. But it's only reason I'm there is because I had to learn from past experiences. I had to learn from losing it all to make sure that now that never happens again.
Excellent. So to summarize what you just said, how you took control of your finances was by mainly trying to self-educate yourself.
Absolutely.
That education is very important when you come to your finances.
And I still don't know it all, but yes.
Okay, excellent. So education, when it comes to how do you take control of finances, which is a little bit part of what I do, what I'm involved in is, educating people on how money works. And number two, why should you make a budget? Why, in your own words, do you think making a budget is important? When
it all ties in though, Merlin. When you think about the first, what we just went over, control. The budget helps control your money, right? As long as I have a budget that I know that I have to stick to, then I have the control over my money. If I don't set a budget, then my money tells me what to do, opposed to me telling it. The budget is the structure. The budget is the infrastructure to say, this is what we're doing with this, because this needs to be done, doom, doom, doom. Now, if there is anything left, this is where most people go wrong. There's money left. I get paid next week. I'm going to blow it. That's where we go wrong. There's no such thing as extra money. There's absolute, I got extra money this week. No, you don't. Because life still happens.
Right.
And things are going to occur. There's absolutely no such thing. I'm a mother of 3. I don't give when I'm dating a spouse or anything, I don't give them any money. I may buy you something here or there, but why? Because I have a strict budget that if you come into a relationship with me, you are under the clear understanding she is a mother and her finances are tied into her business and her children. Anything you want from me has to be untangible. It has to be love. It has to be emotional attachment. It has to be growth. It has to be development. It has to be things. Now, will I still support him and do things for him? Absolutely. But it will not be on a continual basis. Why? Because I have a budget and he's not in it until he becomes my husband.
Excellent. That's perfect. I love that. So what you just said was that you should make a budget because that budget would actually help you to control your finances.
I believe so.
Excellent. Now, the third point we're going to cover very quick is what saving and investing can do for you. So, Tyshanique, what's your take? As a business person, what do you think saving and investing can do for you?
Saving is like it's like a parachute to me, right?
Excellent.
So that's your safety. When things arrive in your life, most people, many people, or some people, I don't have the number, so I don't want to speak, out of turn. So some people panic when life happens, right?
Okay.
They freak out. Oh my God, what am I going to do? The roof, we just had a flood. We don't have the money. Why? You don't have the money because, one, you never had control over your money. Two, you never put a budget in place. And if you did, when you had some money that was flowing over, you considered it to be extra and you splurged. Because again, you didn't have discipline because of the mindset. So that goes back to that.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. So most people panic, but that saving is like jumping out of a plane, but you have something to bring you down to safety. You don't have to panic. That's how I look at saving. I never used to save. I have investments in in Gerber. I have stock, in Gerber Foods. I don't intend on birthing out another baby again, right? But I know that some babies are born every day.
Yeah.
Every day, constantly.
No,
and guess what? Parents, any mother goes on, I'm going with Gerber. And now they have an organic line. Boom. So now those who don't want to do just the regular baby food, we're going to go organic. It doesn't matter because Gerber is producing it. I need stock. I need stock in Fidelity. I need stock in healthcare. I need stock. I need investments. Why? No one taught me this. I had to teach myself. Now, I had an individual like you in my life at that point, Coca-Cola. No, I'm not in Coca-Cola. Excuse me, Pepsi. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Coca-Cola. Y'all, maybe I have to work with y'all later. It depends on what y'all doing with this new marijuana thing. Depending on how that works, I may have to invest in Coca-Cola. But right now, Pepsi. So I may not have a lot of money in my pocket, but I can close out Gerber today and I'm set. I can close out healthcare systems that I have investments in and I'm set. I mean, good. Mm-hmm. But that comes from me understanding that I need to save a little bit so that I can invest in the long haul.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So I think we've covered the length of time that was assigned for this short, video that we did. And I hope that, those that are going to be watching this video will actually take some time to actually, maybe go on my YouTube page because, some of these videos are going to be posted there. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into the specific of what we just talked about. But generally, we were able to cover some of the major points that I think most people were able to get some great value, right?
Absolutely.
What we just did.
Absolutely.
So, Tyshanique, I want to thank you for coming on the show, right? It's great to have you. Now, before I let you go, I just wanted to quickly remind, the audience where they can get in touch with you. What are some of the quick,
bits and bites, some bites.
They can get you.
So, you can follow me on Instagram at @the_great_university. You can follow me on Facebook. Actually, I'll give you my personal page. I do have The Great University on Facebook. However, primarily you'll see a lot of my content because, again, you have to understand that in business, you have to be able to separate yourself. There are, again, and I spoke briefly in the beginning, is that the Great U, under that umbrella, we have multiple entities. I am a separate entity from the Great University. I am a brand by myself. So you can follow Tyshanique Hamilton on Facebook, on Twitter. You can go to Facebook, look up The Great University. You can go on YouTube, The Great University. You can go onto my website, thegreatuniversity.com. You can actually Google Tyshanique Hamilton and everything that I've done and the companies I've owned, and books will come up there. But yeah, I am excited to know that these types of conversations are being taken place. And I want to thank you for having me. I'm honored. I'm grateful. I feel privileged to be sitting here with you. So thank you. And thank you to your great audience. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So guys, we are done for this video today. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take some time and sit down and actually break this down so that you can get actually the read nuggets from this book. I think it's really valuable. If you can get your hands on this book, I would really advise you to do so. The title is Rock Millennial. If you go on Amazon. You'll be able to find this book, and the author is Erin, Erin Lowry, Lowry. So, Ms. Hamilton, thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you guys for the next video.
Thank you.
All right.